Am I the asshole for warning my sister's boyfriend she wanted our parents to confront him at dinner?
My 23 female family went out for dinner a few days ago to celebrate my sister, 26 female, Jen's birthday.
When we got to the restaurant, Jen was already there alone. She said she told her boyfriend Blake the time got pushed back 30 minutes because she needed to talk to us alone.
Jen was mad at Blake for not getting her any birthday gifts and only took her out to dinner to a place they go to often.
Our parents understood her being upset and she asked if they would try talking to him because she couldn't get Blake to understand how hurtful that was. I asked her if she had given him her usual present for his birthday or last holiday, and Jen said that wasn't important. For context, my sister's idea of a gift for her partner is lingerie and sex, and only ever that. I don't know about her past relationships, but I do know in the 2 years they've been together, I've heard and seen Blake give her gift ideas for him and he winds up buying them for himself after the fact. He's come to Christmas at our house with gifts for Jen, and Jen always shows up empty-handed for him, saying she'd give him his present later. I told Jen it sounded like she got as good as she gives, whereas our parents said I should be concerned someone would be dismissive and vindictive toward my sister. Our parents said they'd think about talking to him based on his behavior when he arrived. So I text Blake that Jen was setting him up for a lecture. He wound up not showing up. Last night Jen called me angry. She saw my text to him and realized my text was the reason he cancelled and accused me of not having her back, and she's told our parents I butt into their relationship, but I figure she was trying to get us involved in her relationship anyway. I probably could have just stayed quiet, but at the time it didn't sit right with me what she was trying to do. Am I the asshole? But I figure she was trying to get us involved in her relationship anyway. Not the asshole. Jen already lied to Blake about the time of the dinner, and she doesn't consider what he might need or want for a birthday gift. They don't really sound long-term compatible. I think you did the decent thing in giving him the heads up, although he should still have attended. Your parents sound like they indulge Jen, and she has therefore never learned to take the consequences of her own actions. Not the asshole. Let's ignore that Jen is in the wrong and concentrate on your involvement. Jen invited, nay, urged, her parents to meddle in her relationship. She has no moral high ground to object to her sister also meddling. In fact, if you had meddled in her favor, she'd have been really happy about it. You did the right thing in warning Blake about the 3-person ambush. She's 26, maybe it's time to stop going to mommy and daddy to talk to his BF. Not the asshole she pulled you all in her relationship and then wanted sympathy when it wasn't warranted. Your sister doesn't sound like relationship material for Blake. Kinda self-absorbed. You did right to warn him ahead of time. The only thing I wonder is why he felt it important to share your text with her. She don't get her boyfriend a gift for any occasion but expects him to get her something, faced with rolling eyes, then to bring the family in on it and try to bash him for not getting her a gift is crazy. Not the asshole for giving him the heads up. Kinda sounds like the boyfriend is just matching your sister's energy, lol. Not the asshole. Your sister sounds like a child asking mommy and daddy to fight her battles, and setting her boyfriend up for a lecture by her parents is hugely uncalled for. What is she, 12? You probably shouldn't have stepped into it at all. Now you're getting yelled at for interfering. Sometimes it's best to sit back and watch. Either way, let's hope the boyfriend can finally see the red flags flying. Am I the asshole for refusing to give up opportunities that come my way for my sister's sake? My older sister Rita, 20 female, is disabled. My sister's disability comes with a lot of health issues, and while mentally she's capable, physically she cannot do much and struggled even with regular school. She never graduated high school because she got so sick in senior year that it set her way back and she didn't get the grades to graduate. She was offered the chance to repeat, but she said no because she was still really bad afterward. It's something that causes her a lot of distress, and she still cries because she feels like she failed in the worst way. Nobody can convince her differently. She doesn't work and she doesn't go to school or anything. She's at home and gets taken care of by our parents. I, 17 female, am still in school and I'm going into my senior year. There have been a lot of discussions about college or what other avenue I could go down. I was given information on this apprenticeship that could be perfect for me, and my guidance counselor wanted me to give it consideration over the summer because they take high school graduates. It's exciting. Rita was super upset to hear I had so many options. And not for the first time my parents expected me to think of her before making decisions.
They suggested I focus on looking at community colleges only or not going to college at all and going into retail or a service industry job.
They told me I could afford my own place if I were to do that. I didn't get to go to camp because Rita couldn't, and they didn't want me to have experiences she couldn't. I wasn't allowed to participate in school plays because Rita couldn't participate in hers. My parents would actually stop my teachers from including me.
They refused to sign a permission slip that would have allowed me to enter a competition on behalf of my school, because Rita would never get to have an experience like that herself, and they didn't feel it was right for me to have it then.
The permission slip came in because some travel might be involved if I were to go anywhere.
They pulled me out of art classes when I was young because I was doing super well and getting a lot of praise.
My parents actually pressured me to ask if I could leave the classes.
But they pulled me regardless.
Rita would always get upset when I achieved something or got presented with a great opportunity. She'd cry, ask me why I got everything and she got nothing. I felt bad for her but also resentful of the fact she was glad when our parents held me back. This became a fight when the college stuff came up again and my parents saw me looking up the apprenticeship, and my parents asked me how I could even think about going and how selfish I would be.
They said I should aim for something lower for Rita's sake.
Rita heard us argue about it and she said she knows I'm too selfish to give it up for her. I told them I hated them for expecting me to. Rita and my parents said I had no sense of family loyalty at all. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. This is appalling. My parents asked me how I could even think about going and how selfish I would be.
You're the only one who isn't being selfish. They said I should aim for something lower for Rita's sake.
They're a disgrace. She said she knows I'm too selfish to give it up for her. For her? Does she think that she could take your place?
You're the only sane one there.
Not the asshole. But I am sorry to say this sounds like emotional abuse. Try to talk to someone, maybe at school or a family member. They are forcing you to live your sister's life. But you have your own life. You are your own person.
If they cannot see that, you need to leave that house as soon as possible.
Try to go low contact for a while as well until they apologize for what they have done. You are not being selfish for having your own life. Your sister is being selfish for denying you one. Your parents are being absolute a-holes for forcing it on you. Your parents are being completely ridiculous and irrational. It was bad enough they stifled your education and experience as a child, now they want to pressure you to do so as an adult?
They want you live a lifetime of mediocrity just to appease your sister. What next? Don't have a wedding and elope because sis will complain that she isn't having one?
Don't have kids because it will make sis upset?
Tell them that their years of appeasement enabled your sister's insecurity rather than guiding her or getting her help with coping skills. That you are not going to surrender your entire life. Not the asshole and take that apprenticeship. You will live in regret otherwise.
Enough is enough. Not the asshole.
Your parents actually want you to do something less than you can so your sister isn't hurt rather than trying to find things she can do? Wow. That is horrid.
I would find a college, take out loans, and get out of the house as soon as possible.
You are the only person who will look out for you, so do the best you can. Significant other, make sure that your parents don't expect you to take in your sister when they get older.
They do.
Tell them you won't.
Not the asshole, not the asshole, not the asshole. Rita heard us argue about it and she said she knows I'm too selfish to give it up for her.
You're not selfish.
You mustn't give up something you really want. You've already been forced to give up far more than you should have a normal childhood for one. It's not your fault your sister is disabled, and it's entirely wrong of your parents to expect you to curtail your opportunities because of it. They suggested I focus on looking at community colleges only or not going to college at all and going into retail or a service industry job. No.
Why should you?
Go for the apprenticeship.
All the very best of luck.
Your family should wish for you to flourish and succeed. Depriving you of any opportunity your sister can't have is abuse. Your parents are abusing you. It's time you discuss their behavior with everyone who can help you. Relatives, teachers, counselors, pastors, etc. Tell them what has happened in the past, and the decisions that are being made now. Accept any help you can to get out of your parents' house. Accept help that will enable you to take the opportunities that are best for you. You should have a great life ahead of you. I'm so sorry you'll have to make it happen without the support of your parents. You are absolutely not the asshole. Am I the asshole for breaking up my nephew's family by helping him go away to university? Throwaway, for privacy.
My 42M sister, 6 years older, passed away 6 years ago, leaving one son, Jeff, 11 at the time, and her husband, Scott.
I live in the same city and have always been close with my nephew, as he, like me, is a precocious mathematician and coder. I got along fine with Scott, though he always struck me as a bit of a weak personality and not an intellectual match for my formidable and successful sister. She wore the pants in that marriage.
Since her death, I stepped up my time with Jeff and continued to help him pursue enrichment in math, CS.
3 years ago, Scott married Jane, who brought with her 2 daughters, now 9 and 11. Later, they had a son together, now 2. It has not gone well for Jeff.
Jane dominates Scott, and has pushed the blended family hard. Jeff has little in common with his sisters or Jane. I'd guess he's got at least 25 IQ points on anybody in that house. Jane has also pushed him to be involved in her church, much to Jeff's annoyance. My sister was vocally atheist and Jeff is not into religion either.
He spends as much time at my house as he can get away with.
When it was time for Jeff to apply to college, his parents were insisting that he only consider commuting to one of 2 universities close to home. Because, if you leave, you won't ever bond with your siblings, and because, you should help out at home. They also objected to the cost, though my sister left a lot of money and a fully paid-off house behind. Much of this has been used to pay for a bigger house to accommodate the new family and for the stepkids' private schools. Lesson: leave your inheritance to a trust for your kids. Jeff secretly applied to his mother's alma mater, a top Ivy League school, and got in. Jane was furious and she and Scott said they wouldn't pay for him to go.
I happen to be successful, rich, and childless.
I told them and Jeff that I would pay. I can afford it easily. His parents flipped out on him and me, and things have been tense for the last few months. They continue to pressure Jeff not to go away to school, to the point that AL's significant other put down a deposit for him at the local university. When it became clear that Jeff was really going, Jane pivoted to complaining that if I am paying for Jeff's education, I should make the same contribution to her other kids, to which I replied that I am not related to her, her husband or her other kids. I am related to Jeff, the son of the person whom I was closest to for much of my life. Jeff turns 18 in 2 weeks and I have offered to let him move in with me for this summer, and future summers, if necessary. Jane has been berating me for trying to break up her family, and Scott has been less strident but has asked me to consider Jane's feelings.
Am I the asshole for interfering in my nephew's family? Dyke time. Did you ever know that you're my hero? Not the asshole. You are literally saving this kid's life from a hellish Cinderella cruel stepmom lifelong existence. You are the Prince Charming in this story. Congrats, way to go. I hope Jeff excels at his Ivy League school. He will find new friends, a new romantic interest, new hobbies, and develop an awesome career. His life will be great.
Jane pivoted to complaining that if I am paying for Jeff's education, I should make the same contribution to her other kids.
Jane can go fuckity fuck herself. You sound like a great uncle. And you're doing the right thing here.
Jeff's stepmom is expecting him to give up a free world-class education so he can babysit? What the fuck? That pretty much sums up how good a parent she is, not very, and how much she's watching out for Jeff, not at all.
I don't know what is up with Jeff's parents, but you should stick to your guns. Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
Maybe hire a lawyer for your nephew because it sounds like his stepmother stole his inheritance. Scott has been less strident but has asked me to consider Jane's feelings.
And when, if ever, has Jane cared about Jeff's feelings?
Scott has failed miserably to protect his son, and his son's inheritance, from the devious manipulations of Jane.
And Jane has a heck of a lot of nerve, particularly about wanting you to fund her kids' educations. I am so glad Jeff has you in his life. Totally not the asshole. Not the asshole.
Jane has also pushed him to be involved in her church.
Ew. If you leave, you won't ever bond with your siblings.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Not the asshole for the specific situation, but bro. You keep talking about IQ like it means something. The family doesn't suck because they aren't smart in ways you respect. They suck because they're trying to squash and diminish your nephew and erase your sister's memory and values. Says some not great things about you as a person that you see it as a problem of mismatched IQ.
Am I the asshole for sending my twin daughters to separate schools?
I, 38M, am the father of 2 girls, Elsa, 5F, and Anna, 5F. They're physically identical, to the point where even my parents get them mixed up when we visit, and my wife's parents just call them the twins. This is extremely frustrating for me, and I don't think it's healthy for them. There are so many people where we live who see 2 girls with similar features and decide that makes them the same person, which they are not, and I'm beyond sick of it.
I'm sick of getting 2 of everything at Christmas and birthdays, even though they have drastically different interests, personalities, and styles. I'm sick of hearing how they're creepy, or look like dolls, or having my daughters referred to as a set.
At their pre-K, the teachers always kept them together, and often called them the wrong names, which apparently led to some critical information being attributed to the wrong child.
I'm done with this. They're going into kindergarten in September, and I'm enrolling them in different schools.
They're both private Catholic schools, similar price range, similar prestige, as much as a kindergarten can have prestige. Elsa has a longer commute in the morning than Anna, but that's the only major inequality here. And honestly, I think the extra 15 minutes in the car is worth it in order to have my daughters each recognized as individuals at school. If they're not in the same class, teachers don't know them both, students don't know them both, then my girls will each get the same individual attention as any other kid, rather than half. My wife thinks I'm setting them up for resentment if one school turns out better than the other, and that I'm being unfair to Elsa by having her commute be longer.
I let my daughters choose which school each one wanted to go to, and Elsa chose hers because there's birds on the logo. I get that ideally, it would be great to send all our kids to the same school, but I also genuinely believe that giving them this experience apart from one another is crucial for their social and emotional development into emotionally stable adults. Am I the asshole? Too long did not read. Sending my daughters to separate schools of similar caliber in order to keep people from seeing them as extensions of one another. Is this unfair? Not the asshole.
If you can arrange that when you drop Anna off in the morning, then you also pick her up first as well. This way both girls have a chance to talk to you privately. Elsa in the morning after Anna is dropped off and Anna in the afternoon on the way to pick Elsa up, and it not just one kid having that opportunity every day. They might not have anything that they need to say privately or interesting when they are this young, but the benefits will manifest when they are older.
Nah. But for future reference, it may be worth finding a larger school and enrolling them in separate classrooms. Private schools especially can have wildly asynchronous school year calendars, and you are going to be sad if spring breaks don't align, random in-service days off school, etc. Not to mention the risk of the kids having music concerts or school plays on the same night, etc. They won't have any school friends in common, so you can look forward to twice the amount of commuting to birthday parties, sleepovers, etc. I applaud you for cherishing their individuality. Other fun stuff like different haircuts, hair color streaks, etc. can help them help other people see them as individuals. I think what you're doing is a good idea if and only if you're willing to listen to your daughters and change their schools if they ask for it. If one school ends up being better than the other in later years, if your daughters find they want to be at the same school, whatever. Listen to what they voice about the situation after they've tried it. Nah. Though shouldn't this be a decision you and your wife make together? It would be an easier decision to support if the schools were more tailored to each individual child than a preference over a logo. I think traditionally this issue is handled by having the girls in separate classes at the same school, so I think you need a particularly strong reason to deviate from that. Especially since you haven't even tried it yet, though I also get that's a decision you don't want to be making later, so it's a now or never type of thing. So, I get it. That's the reason for my no assholes here vote. You're the asshole for not having your wife involved. Schools are a 2 yes, 1 no situation. And for declaring that the girls chose their schools at 5. Your criteria for that is that the child chose a longer commute because of a logo. That is not an informed decision because at 5 they cannot make informed decisions.
However, at 5 they can answer whether they would like to be together or apart.
I think this reaction is a bit extreme. As others have pointed out, this will cause scheduling problems down the road, and your wife is not on board. Maybe have a very serious discussion with the administration of school number 1 and put the girls in separate classes before you go nuclear. Also, do your daughters actually care about this?
So far, it does seem like a you issue.